left off on page 268, Voices in the Dark. So if you have the book, follow along. If not, you can listen to me. We are going to read about 3 chapters. And we left off with Jack and Augie getting into a fight with some students from another school. They saw Augie in the woods after they went to the bathroom, and they started calling him an orc. They started calling him a freak. Jack was trying to help him, and then they ended up getting in a fist fight. Anyways, Augie fell to the ground. His sweatshirt got ripped, so it was a big mess. So let's see what happens. Finally, after what seemed like forever of running, someone yelled, "I think we lost them." "Amos?" "I'm right here," said Amos's voice a few feet behind us. "We can stop," Miles yelled from farther up. "Jack!" I yelled. "Whoa," said Jack. "I'm here." "I can't see a thing." "Are you sure we lost them?" Henry asked, letting go of my arm. That's when I realized that he had been the one who was pulling me as we ran. "Yeah. Shh, let's listen." We all got super quiet, listening for footsteps in the dark. All we could hear were the crickets of frogs and our own crazy panting. We were out of breath, stomachs hurting, bodies bent over our knees. "We lost them," said Henry. "Whoa, that was intense. What happened to the flashlight?" "I dropped it." "How did you guys know?" said Jack. "Well, we saw them before. They looked like jerks." "You just rammed into him," I said to Amos. "I know, right?" laughed Amos. "He didn't even see it coming," said Miles. He was like, "Are you a freak too?" And you were like, "Bam!" said Jack. "Bam!" said Amos, throwing a fake punch in the air. But after I tackled him, I was like, "Run, Amos, you schmuck. He's 10 times bigger than you." And I got up and started running as fast as I could. We all started laughing. I grabbed Augie and I was like, "Run!" said Henry. "I didn't even know it was you that was pulling me," I answered. "That was wild," said Amos, shaking his head. "Totally wild." "Your lip is bleeding, dude." "I got in a couple of good punches," answered Amos, wiping away the blood on his lip. "I think they were 7th graders. Yeah, they were huge." "Losers," Henry shouted really, really loudly, but we all shushed him. We listened for a second to make sure no one had heard him. "Where the heck are we?" asked Amos. "I can't even see the screen." I think we're in the cornfields," answered Henry. "Duh, we're in the cornfields," said Miles, pushing a corn stalk at Henry. "Okay, I know exactly where we are," said Amos. "We have to go back in this direction. That will take us to the other side of the field." "Yo, dudes," said Jack, hand high in the air. "That was really cool of you guys to come back for us. Really cool. Thanks." And remember, boys and girls, Jack and Augie and Miles and Amos and Henry, they were all feuding during this war. They were all taking Julian's side, but now they all seem to be friends again. "No problem," answered Amos, high-fiving Jack, and then Miles and Henry high-fived him too. "Yeah, dudes, thanks," I said, holding my palm up like Jack just had, though I wasn't sure if they had high-fived me too. Amos looked at me and nodded. "It was cool how you stood your ground, little dude," he said, high-fiving me. "Yeah, Augie," said Miles, high-fiving me too. "You were like, we're littler than you guys." "Well, I just didn't know what else to say," I laughed. "Very cool," said Henry, and he high-fived me too. "Sorry I ripped your sweatshirt." I looked down, and my sweatshirt was completely torn down the middle. One sleeve was ripped off, and the other was so stretched out that it was hanging down to my knees. "Hey, your elbow's bleeding," said Jack. "Yeah," I shrugged. "It's starting to hurt a lot." "Are you okay?" said Jack, seeing my face. I nodded. Suddenly, I felt like crying. I was trying really hard not to do that. "Wait, your hearing aids are gone," said Jack. "What?" I yelled, touching my ears. The hearing aid band was definitely gone. That's why I felt like I was underwater. "Oh no," I said, and that's when I couldn't hold it in anymore. Everything that just happened kind of hit me, and I couldn't help it. I started to cry, like big crying, what Mom would call the waterworks. I was so embarrassed I hid my face in my arm, but I couldn't stop the tears from coming. The guys were really nice to me, though. They patted me on the back. "You're okay, dude. It's okay," they said. "You're one brave little dude, you know that?" said Amos, putting his arm around my shoulders. And when I kept on crying, he both put his arms around me like my dad would have done, and he just let me cry. Okay, next chapter is called The Emperor's Game, or The Emperor's Guard. We backtracked through the grass for a good 10 minutes to see if we could find my hearing aids, but it was way too dark to see anything. We literally had to hold on to each other's shirts and walk in a single file line so we wouldn't trip over one another. It was like black ink had been poured all over. "This is hopeless," said Henry. "They could be anywhere." "Well, maybe we could come back with a flashlight," answered Amos. "No, it's okay," I said. "Let's just go back. Thanks, though." We walked back towards the cornfields and then cut through them until the back of the giant screen came into view. Since it was facing away from us, we didn't get any light from the screen at all until we walked around to the edge of the woods again. That's where we finally started seeing a little light. There was no sign of those 7th graders anywhere. "Where do you think they went?" said Jack. "Back to the food truck," said Amos. "They're probably thinking that we're going to report them." "Well, are we?" asked Henry. They looked at me and I shook my head. "Okay," said Amos, "but little dude, don't walk around here alone again, okay? If you need to go somewhere, tell us and we'll go with you." "Okay," I nodded. As we got closer to the screen, I could hear, "High on a hill was a lonely goatherd." This is from the movie Sound of Music that they're watching, so they're hearing bits and pieces of that. And I could smell the cotton candy from one of the concession stands near the food trucks. There were lots of kids milling around in this area, so I pulled what was left of my hoodie over my head and I kept my face down, my hands in my pockets, and we made our way through the crowd. It had been a long time since I had been without my hearing aids, and it felt like I was miles under the earth. It felt like that song Miranda used to sing to me. I did notice as I walked that Amos had stayed right next to me, and Jack was close on the other side of me, and Miles was in front of us, and Henry was in back of us. They were surrounding me as we walked through the crowds of kids, like I had my own Emperor's Guard. Okay, we're gonna stop there. See you guys later.